With Newport County being part of the English leagues, but a Welsh team, and a Rangers rebuild under Danny Roll firmly completed on the channel, it's time we take on the worst team in Scotland. And no, I'm not talking about Rangers themselves at the moment. I'm talking about the new team, Falkirk. As I've seen Falkirk grow so popular online that I want to take them over, the worst team in Scotland being the newest, and take them to a Champions League title, hopefully pleasing all you Falkirk fans. As yes, people, here we are. This is the Falkirk team, and wow, you have got to say, this is a team probably not one of the best in Scotland. We've got a youngster in Nilsson at the back, who I probably want to keep about. Henderson, Spencer, Miller. We've got Tate, who's a decent overall. But this team overall is not very good. It is Falkirk, and I'm going to put it together straight away. We've got to get Cartwright out, as this is the team that was very popular in the comments section. Scott Arfield, a Canadian. I do know that man from Burnley. And our job is to get Falkirk to the Champions League title in any means necessary. As we have kept the team in Scotland, we could have gone the Prem to get a bit of a bigger budget. And maybe we do in the future with some Scottish teams, but for now we're staying in Scotland with £1 million. That's not a decent budget at all. However, when you do take this team off paper, they're doing well. They're 5th in the league at the time of recording this, so we know we should have some decent players locked in, but Lewis Nelson's only on loan from Hearts. Same with one of our good left backs. Sam Hart is on loan from Port Vale. Ethan Williams on loan from Man United. He was on loan at Cheltenham not long ago. Cartwright's on loan, same as Lisa, same as Wilson. Shameful, whatever words you want to use, as we do have an academy, and 57 rated Shane Wallace might get some game time. Same as the rest of them that I've just promoted, as actually, when we compare him to McCann, he's higher rated. But when we compare him to Hart in the first team, I could put him in there, but Hart's obviously going to steal some game time due to his overall, and we don't have much money this season, so I think I'm going to do two things. And the first requires actually terminating the loan of Sam Hart, 14.4k. You might say it's a waste, but now Shane Wallace will get some game time in Season 1, and then the other thing is just gamble on the one-star Logan Jardine. Let's just face it, we're a little bit screwed season number 1. No budget given to us at all, and we're just going to have to go with the flow. Send our scout to Scotland and see if in Season 1 we have anything to build into Season 2 with. And this is nice. I did go ahead and put live points on to try and make it so we might have a chance of getting more money, but then again, it almost might screw us. And it's saying carefree improvements. The board will carry over the money from this year, which is nice of them, considering it's only about 88k. Thanks for that game, and now we've got our players at the end of the season. Any improvements? Well, Scott Bain is a 34-year-old shot stopper, not doing too decently. I'm guessing with no growth. We've got Calvin Miller with a little bit. Donaldson, Arfield -6. That's the way we're going about it. Dylan Tate going up a little bit, and I thought he was a potential player with potential to grow for us. Change him to a cam, see if it makes any difference. As I made one big move before we got going with the rest of the season, that was to loan out Samuel Ogusunyi. Think he might be worth a bit of money if we sell him. As I've kept my scout update till the end of the season to see if there's anyone worth paying for. Exactly. Well, we've got a 56 rated Jack Mackey, a 50 rated Jack Howe. They're all called Jack from Scotland. That's surely not possible. As the best player we got is this Lewis Carruthers, then Jack Mackey himself. I tell you what, if we could improve some players very quickly, then we might not have a season like we've just had in this save right here. 6th in the bottom group. 4 wins out of 38 games all season. How are they doing so well in real life, and how are we going to get this team not only to the top, competing with Celtic, competing with Rangers, but winning the goddamn Champions League trophy? As hey, we did earn a replay against Hibernian in the Scottish Cup, but then got hammered 4-0, with that being our only cup competition, and this could be a way to win in Europe, going through the lower ones like the Conference League and Europa before hitting the champ. As at the moment, this team on paper earning no revenue from the players themselves. I don't think we'll be able to sell any. I'm going to swap one out, and then we've got MacArthur's. He's not going to take over Nesbitt, though, is he? My voice going because I can't actually believe what I'm looking at on paper. But if you guys are ready for this challenge, make sure you subscribe, as we will turn these into the top team in Europe eventually, as hey, Season 2 starts with a better budget. £3 million to spend. That's better than the measly one we had before. And is there a way to see the separation? Maybe that's it. Maybe we had around about... Well, we had about 50k left, so we've only got 50 added to about 2.5 of that. To keep this team ticking, now we've got more players. We have 29, so more potential to sell. Has Trey Samuel Ogunsanya gone down a rating? I could have sworn he was at a 63. Might have some potential in real life, but I am going to transfer list him. We need every penny possible, as there's two obvious ways of going about this. Youth is the first one, and then free agents. But I don't want to go over 3 each season here. Do feel that's kind of cheating, as Dylan Tate to a Cam. Stats are looking quite decent if we can just keep growing his passing, because he's got a lot of room to grow. Meaning right back is the first option, because Adams ruining potential at 24. Then we need a striker, because Graham is 38. 1000% a midfielder. Connor Allen is 22. And he's 53 overall. So maybe we'll give a start to Jack Mackey if he can take that spot. And loan out the rest of these players you can see right here. Rob Edgar. Shout out Edgar. He could have some potential. 57 rated, the same as Carruthers. But yeah, everything rides on the striker we're going to try and sell to get a bit more money in. As Alfredo Adjumang, what a name. He's going to be our left midfielder. As the aim of this season is simple, we've got to try and not finish bottom, as we've already got a bid in, accepted by the board for Trey Samuel Ogunsanya. £1 million. Now, I would have probably asked for that. And hang about. Why has my guy got a rainbow beard attached to his face here? That's a weird glitch, but that's not a glitch. We've earned that money. Taking us almost to 4 million. About 3.4, I would say, is reasonable. To go and sign now in a league that I don't really get the chance to do so in, because they're not the best players themselves, but the Irish League. No offence, of course, to Raman and any of these players, because Graham Burke's better than half of the Grimsby ratings. And same as Evan Caffrey. Now, I'm going to build a solid structure list up here of players worth signing, and I've actually only found 3 of them. There is Evan, who could be a right back, Harry Wood, and also Owen Elding of Sligo. And can you believe the first offer we're putting in is over $1 million for Owen, because I feel he's a very reasonable striker to go out there and grab us some goals. They've gone centre mid next. Yes, I know we've got Jack Mackey, but Harry Wood has a place in my heart, being ex-Grimsby, and he can't really play in that centre mid position, but he's a very versatile player who I thought maybe could be the right back. But if not, it will be fine. We'll probably change him to a DM anyway. But only 64 weeks. Now, I was going to look into right back next up. Go into the free agents now to just see whoever's possible. Obviously, I'm not going unrealistic to the max, but we need some high rateds who might be looking to revive their career in Scotland. There's the likes of Max Anderson, Jordan Archer, of course, but he's a little bit old for us at the moment. Rory Blair, he looks good, but we've got the youth of our own, and Ross McCrory, a perfect player to bring up here. A big show of ambition from us as the manager, but that's not where ambition stops, because another 71 overall player who is a free agent is the injured Ross Stewart, who hasn't loved life over at Southampton since he moved from Sunderland. Did score a lot of goals at amateur level here in Scotland. As he shakes this team completely up, he's got to be the target forward as we're going big man and little man up front with this new rejuvenated Falkirk lineup. And yes, that's not just finishing bottom, you know. That's finishing bottom of the Championship group in Scotland. Putting ourselves amongst the good teams like Aberdeen, Hearts are flying, Celtic, Rangers, Motherwell, yes she is. And then down there, Hibernian. What a fall off for the team we actually gave a good go in the Scottish Cup, as Livingston have made the final, a team that did finish below us. Fills me with a little bit of confidence, but we lost 2-0 to Dundee. Still, confidence from this season. Of course, we've just signed 2 elite Scottish players. For the level we're at, Ross McCrory and Stewart, both growing. And Ross Stewart himself is 30, so that's a surprise to me. With Owen Elding going up, potential to be special in the man we just signed from Ireland. Harry Wood goes up by 3. A +9 and 10, especially for Jack Mackey. On loan at Harrogate in England, maybe has got in the EFL 2 Team of the Year. We can dream anyway, as I loaned out Keelan Adams, a real-life player, alongside Lovrich, because I knew they weren't going to play, and I just wanted to rely upon the normal team with Wallace still growing, and it's a shame, because Scotland have decent left-backs. We could buy at any point, as Bairns probably the next out. Got Henderson who could go out as well if Lovrich isn't up to standard. Yeats is down here with a bit of game time. That is a beautiful name as well. Yeats. Hopefully he yeets himself into the first team if he continues to grow. With McCrory only getting older, and that's good. We've got a striker in Ross Maxivere scoring, but Stewart and Eldin both get 15. If we needed to sell players now to up our budget, I don't think we've got an issue, as it's 3 million again. No live points last year, stepping money over from the season before, as it's 2.6 again. Interesting. Very, very interesting, because now we can do the one-in, one-out strategy with the players that we've just signed and we've got back from loans. We've also got Carson who could swap. He's 60 rated, but he's not a winger. As when the bench is fixed up, that's a lot better going into this season than the first team is. Another 2 youth players, adding to Wallace. But yeah, goalkeeper. Got to focus on that goalkeeping position. Also, Lovrich himself. If we sell them 2 players, we can add more. And how am I forgetting about Mackey down here in the reserves? Feed him in ahead of Tate. So now we've got a couple of youth players in this youthful Scottish side. With more players now as well becoming backups like Alfredo Adjumyang. I changed his position just now, but he's one player we can sell to keep making Falkirk even richer, because we don't need half of the players. We've got 32 now at the club, and could Calvin Miller move out of right midfield? I mean, there's a big bid in there from Millwall for 1.05 million, but a big bid plus a player for Ross Stewart, who is the age of 30, and I'm going to delegate. If we could get 3.3 million as a minimum, that would be huge, as we could maybe get 5 for Owen Elding. However, that's what I'm going to reject, because I feel like Owen's a gem we've signed. Plus, if we do get rid of Stewart, I've got the perfect striker to go next to him. It's all planned in my head. So first, we're getting rid of Adjumyang, then we're getting rid of Calvin Miller. I actually am going to sell him to Millwall on £1 million. Before the big one, it was short, it was sweet. From Ross Stewart, he's helped Owen Elding develop, and he's got his career back on track, playing 40 games uninjured, but now he goes over to Heidenheim, giving us 8 million. That is absolutely fantastic for our level. Now I think that Falkirk should be competing with Celtic and Rangers if we get our business right, as we've got 4 positions to solve still. However, I've got a player in mind that previously has played for Falkirk, Roman Burrell. He's worth 2.2. He is currently at QPR, and I don't know how this is going to be received, but I know he played for Falkirk because I have tracked a bit of his career. He went from Burton to QPR after being at Cove Rangers as well, and the reason I know all of this is because he came through the Grimsby Town Academy, and he's doing pretty well for himself at QPR, so we've got another number 11, as it's firmly onto a right mid now, then a centre mid, and then the most important goalkeeper, which is why I want to keep the money down on a right mid if I can. And Stanley Mills, he's not exceptional, but he's the next in line for us. Really weird that Oxford, or is it Everton, who's released him? I know he was in the Everton Academy, but I don't know where he's really at right now. And like I say, that saved us money on our next position I want to go to. I'm going outside of the box for a non-free agent, Wilhelm Berthensson. Or is it Berthelsson? I don't know how you really say it. A Danish playmaker, which we probably could have used in net as well, to replicate Schmeichel, but we might have done that already. No, by not signing Kasper, but we're signing from Copenhagen, Oscar Burr, only 20. And you guys might be saying, Max, you promised a centre-back with Donaldson, weak, and Lovrich. I didn't realise Donaldson's age. I just thought let them run. So we've got Berthelsson in the middle, and I have a plan in place, a tactical masterclass to make some money. As you can see, we've got a lot of right backs. That's not the masterclass in action yet. We do need another player on this bench, maybe Carson. Could go there. Harry Wood's on the bench as well, 69 rated at 25. As this first team striker-wise has improved a lot since when we first came in. With just Graham, as now it's Elding scoring 15 himself. We've got Stanley Mills getting quite a few. Jack Mackey was really good in England. With Harrogate, Burrell's improved. Also the midfielder we had. And the highest rated player, Ross McCrory. This is where we make cash. Because next season I'm going to sell him like I did Stewart. He's 30. He's really physical and pacey, but he's not a Champions League winner. Sorry to him, and Harry Wood maybe isn't himself, but you might have forgot I was changing him to a right back and he's 70 overall. Meaning next season we don't even sacrifice a first team player when Harry Wood goes to right back. We get 2 centre-backs in. That's the only thing we will be needing. Alongside the sale of McCrory, as we are the best of the rest. Hearts are there just behind the 2 favourites for the title. And then it's us. 18 wins is good. We are in that top championship group again. But come on. Let's at least have a cup run. Oh, scrap that even. We're not even going to have a cup run. We're going to win it. We beat Rangers in the Scottish Cup final, meaning Falkirk have done it. 3rd season in, or maybe the 4th, but we won a domestic trophy. And does that actually mean Europe? We had an easy run with St Mirren. And Dundee, revenge is best served sweeter than ever. Because yeah, a trophy and potentially European football on the horizon. Slowly becoming the best of the rest as there we go. First things first. We've got 3 75s, but I'm going to actually sell one of them. The old boy McCrory, and we already know where we are going to be going. With position signing as we're expected Europe, and we are in the Europa League with Falkirk, but stupidly that doesn't enter our budget. Or more money doesn't enter despite pushing better in the division. Can someone just give a big pile of cash to the TV licenses around Scotland so we can improve this team better with them 2 positions needed? And the Europa League, honestly, don't expect us to do it. It'll probably be a long time before we actually compete in Europe full stop. However, qualifying's a good start. And Lewis Carruthers, right, 11.1 million. He is one of our Scottish superstars. Tempting me to say no, but that is a huge bit of rejection I just didn't enjoy doing. Maybe we get a better offer from McCrory. Which we do. 12.7 for a 30-year-old. That's sensational as the next bid in. A good player in a swap deal for Lewis Carruthers. Alexander Rosling Lillicet. I can't say his name, but there's one thing I can definitely say, and that is a good player, and him plus a bit of money is something we surely cannot be rejecting at all. As there's the big fee we've made. Ross McCrory out to Watford, with Lewis going out and Alexandra coming in. That was very unexpected, but welcome Alexandra. Hopefully you can play left mid soon. Or maybe we have to change the wingers, go into the 4-2-4. That probably is better. To get Stanley Mills some more goals himself, so I'm going to change it up ever so slightly. That is the way it's going to play with the false 9. In Elding, a 16 million. First priority, a new pair of defenders. But if we get another winger, another centre mid, another goalkeeper, maybe we could push for a playoff place in the Europa League with potential to get more money. But firstly, centre-backs, and Ange Agasuwu. I'm still looking in the leagues like the Austrian Bundesliga to try and find some hidden talents. A left footer, that's very good, and he's only 24 with still some room to grow. Just like this man has, coming across from QPR, ex-Bayern Munich, and most importantly, is a Scottish player returning to the Scottish leagues. Again, the second signing we've actually made from QPR. This is Liam Morrison, once a player with huge potential, and hopefully can get back up to that, as 5 million. Now, this is the play. I want to sign free agents, which are old and better than the players we currently have, so they can play in Europe. For example, a really good central midfielder who will give game time to Mackie, probably off the bench. Then Mackie takes over once they slow down, because we need experience for this competition. We are entering in Europe, so players like Hove with still some potential. He's going to join us, but not be the only one, because we're signing someone who's in Europe this season and was wrongly placed into the wrong European competition. It is Daniel Munoz, who's 32 but still very experienced. An elite player, and I think it is 5 seasons around now. We've become an elite team in Scotland, winning it! From literally finishing at the bottom with 4 wins and 9 draws to now 4 defeats and 9 draws, and picking up the title, reversing our point tally, and we've already won the Scottish Cup, which unfortunately we won't do again because Dundee's got revenge on top of our revenge. But I seriously don't care because this team's done us so proud with Elding now at an 80, a few players at an 80, including Munoz, who came in at an 81. He has grown as an old man. Maybe we do try the McCrory glitch of selling him for some money. Bench-wise, we need improvement, as these are the increases. A +6 there with Oscar Burr. Now, we do have coaches to help this progression, but some players just help themselves, like Stanley Mills and like Owen Elding. Both grabbing 17, but Stanley Mills not grabbing that starting right wing spot yet, as I stupidly didn't put him there. And this is not stupid at all. I said we could nick a playoff round, and we do. We come 19th in the league phase. Yes, we've just won the Scottish League. Doesn't that equal Champions League? I don't know, but that's an excellent finish above the likes of Betis and Sevilla, the kings of this competition, although we falter at the first hurdle to Union St. Galois with a lot of money, 8 goals to 3. We can be proud of ourselves as now we've just got to work on 3 bench positions and the rest of this team to grow further, as surely we get a bigger budget start of next season. And there's the guarantee of it. Quarter-final of the Champions League is what the board want, which I think is massive expectation put on our shoulders. And Champions League, you dream of the big teams, the big budgets, £9 million. 9 million. That is all we get for a cup win. In the country we're actually situated in, absolutely horrific, as I wanted to bench this man, Roman Burrell, with 93 pace, to get another striker in, and I think I'm going to have to play the right-back game again with Rodrigo Muniz, or is it Daniel? I don't even know his first name. And I don't know if I want to be on a first-name basis with someone who could leave as Stanley Mills to a right wing. How is that not improving his rating? Crazy, as the first bid's in for our left back we haven't thought about. There is better left backs out there from Scotland. Shane Wallace, Newcastle and Frankfurt, but just due to him being a graduate from our academy, I am shutting that down. I think he's coming on the journey with us. And plus, it's a other fullback I want to do my looking at, as this isn't actually a signing. Well, it is, but it's actually part of a swap deal. For Munoz, we get Gendry plus 36 million. And I don't get it either. You're going to see in a minute, the Eredivisie are paying out on players because, well, that's a big budget. And plus, we do get a player in return who isn't the best, 29. But Gendry, if he could hit the 80 mark, I think that'd be okay, as we've still got 39 million plus more money to make. And I am not talking about Wallace. I'm talking about the centre-back. We have literally just signed Liam Morrison going to AZ Alkmaar, who we've genuinely robbed blind. The Eredivisie wanting all our players. Maybe they've seen us in Europe and they think, yeah, we want our teams to do well in Europe as well. And I'm not going to complain, taking us almost to 100 million with Falkirk. That is genuinely sensational. As I did say, I wanted Burrell on the bench. Then it's all eyes on the first team with 2 key positions where I want 80 rated players to carry us through this Champions League quarter-final, maybe? That's what the board are asking about, as the first free agent is Lenny Joseph, a right winger from France, just as a backup, same as Elias Cataneo, who sadly mark a few free agents in a row, but we've got good ones in there, and we've got Burrell on the bench, as now it's time to go big in them 2 positions. We really need to go big in, and striker's going to be my favourite to actually look for. And I'm thinking Premier League quality brought to here. In Scotland could be perfect, and Francesco Pio Esposito? Don't get me wrong, we could afford better, but he's not playing because of Ollie Watkins, and he does strike me as a striker that needs to start in European competitions. With the other man being a signing I had in mind from the start, obviously can play centre-back if we train him really well. It is the man, Scott McSauce, as he's playing out of position, but I still think it's a good position for him because look at his stats. Defensive and physical very much up there. Despite him being almost a cam, we've got Hove, we've got Bethelson in the midfield, who are good enough. Our fullbacks a little weak in this side, which is now 39 players big. And we've got Esposito, the best player, then Owen Elding still growing himself, and McTominay, who I hope will improve further when I go ahead to change his position, which I was stacking up from the start of this save, since we bought him, and a 90 rated Scott McTominay. Now he deserves the Ballon d'Or, because look at that, above everyone else. And Sharp, although 33, fits into this team magnificently. Can you remember the team we started with? The gamble we took, trying to sign Elding for 1 million, and that seems so long ago, as we are dominant. Despite our goal difference being a little bit shaky, we beat Celtic to a title. That's a trophy to the cabinet again. Scotland is dominated now by Falkirk, but the Scottish Cup, 3-2 defeat. I like them finalists though. No Rangers, no Celtic, no nothing. Oh my days. Another competition where our goal difference wasn't great, but we went through with 8 wins in the Champions League, which is amazing. And we just signed McTominay from Napoli, and they beat us 5-3. What can I say? I always feel haunted by the Champions League when we do well in the league phases. Now, Falkirk's got some money from nowhere. Or I shouldn't say nowhere, but finally we're getting a Champions League worthy budget when we're expected to win our domestic cups, then only reach a semi-final, which is reasonable. Especially when we've got McTominay in the squad, who's now going down. The bench, in my opinion, looks good enough. I might just keep Tatey there because he's an OG. The only OG apart from Wallace, who isn't one, but he was found in our first season. I want to keep him around. I want to get him a bit more physical, as that stat's lacking for him. So there we go, strength and aggression to be worked upon, as now Scott McTominay is firmly a defender. Centre mid, Willem, he is 24-year-old. 81 rated, but again, I just want to go stronger. I am greedy for the best, and you see Hove up here, you see a defender, you see both strikers, you see the goalkeeper, Oscar Burr, but you see Willem lacking a little bit, so transfer list he goes. As I wonder how much we'll get for an actual young player, instead of selling an old one. As Gendry, our right back, is very lucky I'm not trying to sell him, because we've done that enough in this save, as I'm trying to sell some of the OGs in the reserves, as it's got me thinking, honestly, why not? Why not cash in? We need every penny available to try and replace Willem, sold for 60 mil. Who is that Deportivo I just saw? Weren't they in the second division? Yes, they are. Who the heck are giving them 60 million to actually do business with? That's bizarre. So we've sold him despite his potential, despite his young age. We've got some good players. David Mellor, also Charlie Patino. However, now it's time to replace the centre mid we just lost. I don't know the amount of money we've got. Probably can't afford Jens Berg. Another Norwegian, and 77 million. Now in the Premier League, we've just signed a player from there, and prices might be a little bit inflated, especially going from England to Scotland. So I am going to look into a different league, maybe in Ligue 1, because a lot of English talents go there later on. In the saves, for example, Valentin Barco, a versatile man who could surely do the job for us. Or maybe this man, experienced at winning the Champions League before, and with João Neves and Vitinha, probably stands no chance of being a starter. And let's not mention the exact numbers in his price tag, shall we? As this is now Falkirk, you probably wouldn't recognise it at all. A Ballon d'Or nominee, then a Champions League goal-scoring winner, then we've got Esposito, a wonder kid, only 25 at 90. Phenomenal, but outscored by Elding. Oh my days, 48 goals for this English wonder kid. Hanging out at Sligo Rovers, I recommend you go and look for him, as Rossing Lesiet has done well. Then Esposito did actually provide assists for his strike partner, as look at that. That is worthy of a Champions League run. And Wallace, who I hope has been working on his physicality to get us over that line. He's now the better fullback, which was never the case when we had McCrory and when we had Munoz, as less defeats this season, but we do win that Premiership title, as expected, and we've done a double. Could we make it a treble if we do win the Champions League, but get the Scottish Dominant Cups in to that cabinet? And I like this. You know I hate it when we do well in the league phase, because when we don't, we usually progress better. So 11th means we do get Dynamo Kiev, and we beat them 5-1 before hammering Manchester City. Now, this is a really good Falkirk team. Then playing Liverpool 1-0, 0-0. Quarterfinals means we go into the semis. We had to come back heavily against Frankfurt to get us into the black and white finale. It is Falkirk against Juve. Not black and white, just the white outskirts. Or sorry, outlines of badges. Two badges I really do rate. They've got Lloyd Kelly in their Italian defense. A Noon Mensch versus Mayulu, two players that linked up in real life for the last Champions League finale, winning 5-0. Both here, though, have lost Paris and Kenan Yildiz. He was one of the cams, I believe, when looking at the team sheet, so he's going to be attacking a lot in this game, but Seni Mayulu. Look at this, because we're playing the 4-2-4, our wingers should get very much forward. That's a nice turn if we give it into Elding. That is not what I expect from the Champions League top scorer this season. And Jonathan David into Locatelli. Locatelli around the corner into Selic yet again. Look at the attackers flooding the box. Big save Burr. And we need to just fight as hard, and Elding just needs to spread the ball out to the wings every chance he does get. I like that ball. What a ball into Owen. That isn't a funny touch. That is more like the competition's top scorer who feels like he's levitating. 17 in 21. We can't forget the pass though. Stanley Mills, the English link-up. Yes, I know that's poor for a Scottish team, but still, very good goal. As now Elding. Look for him, look for Rossig. He needs to keep the ball in and does. Now he tries a Stanley Mills with the ball into the middle, but Kyulu almost costing us a goal. And they're going to come at us again at Juventus, a very tricky opponent. It is seeming so. Thuram around the corner into Kenan. A return ball. Back to the Frenchman. Just stop him getting in the box. Good stuff, Hove. We'll see this out to half-time. I hope so anyway, as Conceição around the corner, though. Yildiz, don't let him sweat it. That's a chance for Conceição into the winger. Oh, my days. Can we just get to half-time? In the game, which they are desperate for, as Yildiz into Jonathan David. Locatelli trying to come across. A really good ball. Good defending from Asuhu, who hopefully... That's a tongue twister. Puts us on a bit of an attack. Really need to be a good counter team because that's all we're going to get. And it's Rossig running in. I mean, I'm going to look for the pass this time. If there's someone on this right-hand side, it's Stanley Mills. It is 2-0. Second contribution for him. Really don't deserve it. Juventus should be home and dry. They should be 2-0 up. There's now Selic back into Eginaldo. Selic looking for a pass all the time. Eginaldo gets it back and doesn't know where to go until he finds Locatelli and Yildiz. Get it clear. We don't do. Thuram's dominating this game. Need to stop him in the midfield, Mayulu, but still he's nowhere to be seen. And our formation is all over the place because Thuram's just allowed to run this show. Conceição, can we get a foot in here? It doesn't seem so, but still we've managed to come away unscathed from it as Juventus try and cause another attack again. Eginaldo somehow finds his way in, and David, of course, they get two chances to get their first goal and put us under a bit of pressure. This is going to be a tense 10 minutes. But like any Champions League finale, none come without pressure and obscurity to overcome, as now it's Stanley Mills trying to get the ball back in the middle, and he does. Onto Gentry. Gentry goes back. Scott McTominay. We will just kind of take this if they don't put the pressure on us. They're the team trying to play, but not playing right now. Esposito. 3-1. Done nothing in the game. Pops up with the goal, and this was never a 3-1 game. I've actually got to apologise to Juve because they've absolutely had it stolen from them, as Falkirk are winning the Champions League, especially with a quality finish like that one. As Asuhu gets to lift the trophy, that has been excellent. A really good finale for us. Don't know still how we managed to do that with the Scottish team, all the way from the bottom to the top, as if you do want to see your rebuild down below, make sure you comment it and it might come to the channel.